Nerdrotic.com.
Welcome, travelers, to the fringes of reality, where the strange and mysterious meet, and the thin veil between fact and fiction is torn. Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier.
Actually hit the button if you wanted to get.
Oh,
I
can I?
actually,
Which one is it?
it doesn't matter because it's Gary.
Third up.
I
on the
did
left.
it. I did it.
First try.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special recorded episode of Forbidden Frontier. We are sorry we cannot be live on our Forbidden Frontier trip where we're supposed to give you Forbidden Frontier stuff, but we're too busy doing the Forbidden Frontier stuff. Does that make any sense at all?
It makes total
Give me a high
sense.
five.
You know what?
That's Garrett's hand. Say hello to Garrett's hand. And then we have X-Ray. Good.
Hi. I'm going to talk a lot more today, I think.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. So it's been a great conference. We've already done interviews with Hugh Newman from Megalithomania. We talked to Malcolm Lecomte, doctor or professor? Dr. Malcolm Lecomte. We had a brief, we didn't get an interview. We had a brief conversation with Randall Carlson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We will be getting an interview with him. I talked to Robert Schock. We're going to get him on the show.
Yes.
He's talking tonight, and that's why we can't be live.
Yeah.
Also, House of the Dragon. But I mean,
But Robert Schock.
Robert Schock. I'm not going to miss Robert Schock.
He is the sweetest man ever. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty
Mhm,
cool. So
mhm.
we are going to have content for you.
Mhm.
We're going to have interviews that we're going to put up on this channel over the next day or so, probably a couple days.
Give us a couple days to get to it because we have to drive places.
Yeah,
It's far.
I won't be home till Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks
I
to the
know.
Acolyte.
I won't be home for 3
I'm
weeks.
staying an extra day for the Acolyte. So the thing we just witnessed today. All right. So there's been a lot of ancient civil. We saw a great presentation. I can't pronounce his name. It's an Indian guy.
Praveen.
Praveen did a presentation on nose jobs and surgery from 2,000 years ago
In India.
in India.
yeah.
which
It's crazy.
is just more proof that our technology is just passed on technology from some mother source. The Snake Brothers
Yeah.
did a great presentation on Gobekli Tepe showing that it's far older, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Luke did the best presentation of the weekend so far,
Absolutely.
talking about the
Love
Olmecs
Luke.
and how they pretty much right around the same time sprang out of nowhere, just kind of
Huh.
like the Egyptian culture, just
Very interesting.
fully fledged with deities and writing and
Sculpture. Their sculpture is
sculptures,
high level.
hierarchies,
Yeah.
sports, culture, not just art, abstract art, things that you just don't wake up in the morning and invent. That was,
Excuse me.
What the hell was-
X-Ray girl? What the heck?
you can't
It
take her
wasn't on
anywhere.
camera, so no one knows for sure if it was
Uh-huh.
me.
X-Ray Girl has found her calling, by the way. She is a really good producer. She turns on bimbo mode.
She's been networking up a storm.
And oh my gosh, she is so popular with Randall
Oh,
and
yeah.
Robert Schock and Hugh Newman and his friends. And yeah, it's really weird how that works.
I mean,
They won't give me the
I'm
time
nice.
of day, which is
No,
fine.
that's not untrue. That is untrue. You just didn't try it.
I tried.
Yeah, you're just gonna
Did
take the
you?
shirt
I was
down a little.
fangirling a little bit.
Oh my God. When Gary walks up to Dr. Shock, he's like, oh my God. You can see it in his eyes.
These are my rock stars. Okay.
Mhm.
These are my rock stars.
Love
But
it.
what we just witnessed
Yep.
is something we
Ooh.
do need to talk about.
Yes.
And, maybe Adam will join us. We're going to find out
Mhm.
soon. And I hope he does. And we got some footage of, I'm not sure anything happened, but Malcolm Bendel ran the plasmoid generator. Now it's not the full on one because it didn't have
some parts. I forgot
didn't
which
have
one.
the blue light.
It didn't have the plasmoid chamber,
The UV light.
or the UV light.
Yes.
The UV light.
Neither of those things worked. Yeah, it was interesting. He ran a control, just a
Regular
normal,
one?
regular generator that ran on
Gas.
petrol.
On petrol. Yeah.
And then he ran the plasmoid generator, and on both they ran a carbon monoxide detector and an oxygen detector, like a complete. He described the tool. I have to look into it, but the device that they use in racing, so like NASCAR level racing, to make sure that they're not running any NOS or any other fuels in their engines. So I need to double check what that actual tool is. But he said that when it recalibrates, it's supposed to calibrate to the T what is coming out of that exhaust. And what he demonstrated is on the control. What was the numbers on? Do you know what the numbers were?
Like
I need to go back through
5
the numbers.
We have them all on.
for
We have all of them.
oxygen because it doubled.
So
almost
It
tripled.
reduced the
Real
the
quick,
amount of
they ran a controlled
exhaust.
experiment. They ran a regular engine, as Garrett just said,
Yes.
on gas, and then they ran the plasmoid engine, which still needs gas to start,
Yes.
but not to run. And either that or it was running on gas and it was greatly reducing the emissions. Like that's the whole point. So
That's
kind
what
of
he
a
said, yeah.
carburetor, right? But it had the two plasmoid generators there. They weren't fully working,
Mhm.
but what they proved on these numbers, supposedly that they showed us of a bunch of stuff that we don't fully understand, is it more than half. It reduced half of the carbon emissions.
Yeah.
So the first engine was belching them out, and you could smell it.
Oh my
right?
God. And he's like, you need to move from there because this will kill you.
Yeah.
Multiple
Well,
times.
the first thing, I'm sitting next to Luke, and I'm seeing Garrett next X-ray girl like towards it, and I'm like, and Luke goes, Luke Caverns, he's like, what are the percentage of this thing explodes? I'm at least 5%,
I
which
ran
is
away.
too high.
Yeah. I got to get that shot. I'm trying to get that camera. Done.
Yeah.
It's like, we got to save Garrett. He has too
So
many kids.
I reminded Garrett we're not insured. So we watched them run this controlled experiment where they're running the numbers. They had a third guy just from the crowd read the numbers, and the numbers were basically the carbon monoxide that was belching out was around 13 or 14%, and they reduced it by more than half down to
Right.
Gosh. Yeah.
almost,
just remember
no,
the
it was
fully
way more than half.
functional-
It was almost zero.
It was almost zero.
It wasn't the fully functional machine either.
And it
Again,
wasn't, yeah, they were really impressed that it worked at all because there was a couple of
Yeah.
aspects of it not working. So,
And then to reset it, both of these engines were not fully run. This was the first time.
Oh,
that
there's a
they've been
Virgin
run.
engine.
Virgin engines. The plasmoid generator itself was attached to one of them. That one was run before in England.
yep.
But these two engines were fresh, brand new, and you could tell like they were the
But the
cleanest
plasmoid
engine
generator supposedly held its charge from the
England.
last time it ran.
Yeah.
So it will continue reducing the carbon emission to nothing to make it basically
Right.
water or air. Air. It turns into
Yeah.
air. That's right.
We had that machine literally blow air in our face.
It
And
was
it was
blowing-
actually, it didn't smell.
It
Nothing. It was
actually
very
did
clean.
not say
No,
yeah.
I got a smell off the engine that I couldn't tell what it was. It kind of smelled like burning, like, electrical fire. You ever smell an
Yeah,
electrical
yeah.
fire? It kind of smelled like that.
I'm kind
Like what
of
they smelled at the ranch.
At the
when they
ranch.
were drilling
Oh
at
my
Skinwalker
God.
Ranch
in
in
the
front of the Mesa.
Mesa.
But I didn't get a metallic taste. I got that smell.
yeah.
Definitely you could smell, like in the petrol, you could smell.
You could smell it.
Oh,
So
it's nasty.
It's an interesting
In the first
concept, and I'm too dumb, and I'm not an engineer to be able to explain it and see the numbers yet. So before I believe it, I like for it to work. I think hearing that it is possibly an emissions reduction and it makes things more efficient sounds more plausible to me than just a complete. It does everything for an engine, and you can run it on it, and you don't need petrol or any of that. That sounds more far fetched, but we got a guest. We got a guest.
Oh,
It's a host.
hi.
Hey,
What's
what's up, guys? I saw
my
that
gosh.
He's listen.
Well, it's probably
Oh, no,
us,
he's
to
not-
be
it's
fair.
Probably
That's
us.
us.
Yeah. No, you're
okay.
good. What's
You can
up,
hear me,
Adam?
but you can't. You can hear me. You can hear me.
No, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay,
we can
great.
hear you and we can see you.
All right. Let me just start by saying I am I lied before. I lied to you guys. I don't like to lie, but I told you I wasn't jealous of you guys meeting Randall
I
Carlson.
knew it.
Oh, we know.
That was a lie, guys. That was a bald-faced lie. Listen, I'm so happy for you though, and I'm really excited to be watching this stuff. I've been sitting here watching the whole time. I love it. It's Luke Caverns
Aw.
absolutely killed it yesterday. Shout out to Luke. I mean, everyone has been fantastic so far. I love the guy from Wales, but the Indian guy from Wales yesterday, he was great. The guy from, I think he was also from India today, talking about ancient,
Praveen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ravine.
ancient, yeah, surgeries. Yeah, it was so cool, man. The
Mhm.
wide range of stuff that we're seeing is just been absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to Ben. I'm sure he's got some new stuff to explain, and then of course Robert Schock later on today, which is very exciting. So.
I got one of
Very
those
excited.
pots, those 3D printed.
Oh, cool.
pots.
It's really cool.
From
Oh,
Ben?
yeah.
Nice.
From the guy who has been 3D printing them, and they were giving away in gift bags, but he watched us. So what
cool.
you didn't see because they weren't streaming it.
Mm.
And they're going to do another experiment tomorrow, but we got plenty of video for you, Adam. Is
Thank you.
plasmoid generator, and we were
The
just
thunderstorm
talking about
generator.
It.
Yeah.
Thunderstorm generator. It kind of worked. It's hard to tell. It's really
How
hard
do you
to
know,
tell
right?
because numbers that they're giving us numbers, and they ran a test. Garrett just went over it for the audience. They basically had this reader that they used for NASCAR or whatever, for racing, to see if you've got too much of this or that in your fuel, and they ran it on a regular engine. So they gave us the regular carbon emissions, which were
So like
extremely high
emission
on this,
test.
like-
I got you.
Exactly.
yeah, they basically ran a smog test. You know, if you're from
Okay, yeah.
California.
Yeah.
By the way,
Sure.
can I just throw in that I don't miss not getting my fucking smog test every 2 years? Hail, Texas.
Man, that
Fuck
sucks. You
yeah.
have to do that. God.
Still? Oh
Every
my
2
gosh.
years. Yes.
Wow. You go to
Yeah.
the doctor and get a test on your lungs? Like what?
Yes, that's it.
You-
Oh my god.
They take this wire and they shove it up your ass and they test your lungs.
Garrett, you
that
should be
sounds like
good with
something
that.
Zolaboon
Nope.
does.
Nope.
So they did basically a smog test. Okay.
All
And
right,
then
all right,
they
okay.
ran the other engine. So the plasmoid generator was on that engine, and the generator was on a previous engine in London that had held its charge.
Right.
So what they showed us via numbers, I didn't see any sparks outside the plasmoid generator. I didn't see any fucking angels flying out of the engine. I didn't see it levitating. What they showed us was it reduced the carbon emission to almost zero.
Yeah.
So it went from like
from
13.
what?
I mean, it was 13 or 17, whatever this
Percent?
number means. 13 parts
PPMs.
per
Oh, okay.
Million.
motherfuckers or whatever.
Wow.
And we have the footage
It's a
of these
lot of
numbers.
mother.
So when we put
Okay.
together a video, we'll try to make it.
Yeah.
Look
So
how
we-
nice
to
you
zero
We
must-
know what numbers they're getting.
Parts
Now-
per motherfucker.
Now let me ask: Is this the thunderstorm generator that he had on stage with him yesterday? That like
Yes.
Yes.
it looked
Yes.
like just a generator. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys check out the? He said that they had a truck that was
Yes, I've seen the truck.
redone. Now, did that run the same? Was it just like the same system
I
run
didn't
on
see
this
the
truck as well?
Yeah, I didn't get to
Because
see that one.
it said they
So-
retrofitted a truck and it was outside.
They did. So they got an old 50s Chevy,
Dope.
which is fucking
dope.
beautiful as
Yeah,
hell.
looks great.
Friggin' dope. Yeah.
Quick story without outing these guys. One of them watches Nerdrotic.
Hey.
Cool.
Hello.
So
Hail.
the guys, this was before Malcolm. It was just two Australian blokes working on the car, fucking around. So,
It's not
and I'm
bad.
supposed to get
Pretty
the
good.
whole story. I've already talked to one of them, and we're going to talk off camera to protect this guy. But I'm going to get the whole fucking story, which I can't wait for. But
Well, I know
but
he's
you're out there.
Australian now.
Hail. Yes,
So
that narrows it down.
Yeah.
It's Shad.
narrows it down a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's
I don't know.
Shad.
How do you feel about the email?
It's shit.
No, and they developed this engine that just became part of the project. So they weren't like
okay.
recruited by like they work with Malcolm now, but they were doing it on this one guy was doing it on his own anyway, right?
Yeah.
Which is usually how these things are done. And it is connected to the engine. And what I saw was they have the plasmoid generators connected directly to it's welded to the bottom of the engine. It's connected to the engine, welded to the engine. And the only thing they replaced from the OG one is from generator to alternator. And apparently it starts better than it did when it ran on gas or petrol. It just starts smoother. So we'll see. But it's according to them, it started. Now, how long does it run? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
What I would like to know, maybe you can ask them, what's their mileage on their gas? Like, do they have to put any?
They
gas
mentioned
in there?
they mentioned that, Adam. It like you could run. It's insane. It's beyond. It goes well beyond like a full tank of gas. Like
the efficiency is up.
Absolutely,
Like 50% more.
But I can't remember, honestly, and we'll have more information for you because
That's the thing is I would like to see like an engine tech right now, a mechanic that works on old cars. I'd like to see an engineer that knows like the fluid dynamics and all that stuff. I want him to go through all this stuff without having the bias of just immediately throwing it away as woo-woo crazy stuff. Because when I don't want to be mean, but when he's going through his talk, he's going into technicals, and then he starts going into like numbers that are going out, and then he starts talking about the diameter of the moon and then all this stuff, and then he explains
the sound,
and then the vibrations, and then like the plasmoids are organisms and not like elements. And I'm like, okay, you're starting to lose me. You need to be very straightforward.
You have to balance this out because there's sacred geometry in this, and you have to balance it out with, are these guys charlatans or is it they are just, their brain is on another level that we mere humans, we mere mortals cannot comprehend. I think it might be
a little bit of both.
Not with Randall though. Randall's not a charlatan. Randall is not a charlatan. Randall is like his brain is on a different level than we mere mortals. I would
add Luke into that as well. Luke Caverns does a fantastic job of just like bringing the facts.
Well, he's a very analytical mind. Like even when you're talking to him casually, he'll like
see it. It's like working.
Well, he's he was just talking about Father's Day, just a little conversation about Father's Day, and he's like, yesterday I was talking to my dad, and it was just I was in the moment. And I realized, like, hold on to these moments. They're not going to last forever. He's not going to be here forever. And he's like, God, wouldn't it be great to sit down with all your male descendants at a table and just have a talk with them and find out where your idiosyncrasies come from? And like, that's the shit. Yeah. That's the shit. It usually takes me dropping acid to think about. And he's just thinking about it
off the dome.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's up there.
So that's the thing. Is like I'm not very smart, I'm very like normal brained here. So I need somebody that I can respect, that does have that level of knowledge into these very specific technical things, that can look at this and say, okay, these numbers mean this, and this is, somebody outside of the loop of Malcolm and his team. Not that I don't trust them or anything. I just need, before I can believe it, I like to think it was real, but before I can believe it, I need to see it in action on a car with technicals from outside.
Layman's terms.
In layman's terms. Something that could a fuel goes into the engine and it's combusted with oxygen, and then the piston hits that, and that's what creates over and over and over and over, right? So I can understand that. I need to understand the fundamentals of this without the size of the moon and then this and that.
No, vibration sounds.
None of that.
Get an old school mechanic and an old school engineer to analyze this, and I think that would be.
My God.
It's very fascinating technology, though. I hope it's real.
He was talking about how inside the circular motion, it goes 100 degrees and then drops drastically, not like a gradual drop. It just goes 100 down 100 up 100 down 100, and this just continually happens. I don't know how that. Oh my God, Gary!
get that vape out of the way.
Wow! I dissect.
Wait, does Garrett not have a camera on him?
No.
Over there.
We kind
Why
of
don't you snuggle next to one of the other two?
Show me your hand.
Maybe you should put your foot
there. Okay,
in the frame shot.
I just wanted confirmation that you were there.
Yeah, I'm right.
Okay. I saw your.
I don't need to be on camera, man. I'm on camera enough. I'm tired.
True. It was so weird on Friday Night Tights. It sounded like you were in my ear going, "Hi, Gary."
You were like literally behind him too.
It sucks.
You're the worst boss ever.
That's untrue.
So what was one of the coolest things you guys learned this weekend?
The Olmec stuff. I love watching his lecture because it's very factual, like we were talking about, and I like that kind of stuff. I'm less of like the woo woo stuff, which I love watching it, but the stuff that really fascinates me is like the cold hard facts of the Olmec Society has these products that they've put out that we found, and it's like a fraction of what they really made. But these sculptures, there's such a high level of, and I'm an artist, so the high level of sculptures that they had, the detail, not just the detail, but the artistic style to them. They had a very high level style that is like you don't just, like you were saying earlier, you don't just wake up and start designing.
How many people knew that the first big Olmec head was found 60 feet underground?
Oh,
not
that's
6,
insane.
not 16.
Wow, 60 feet? I didn't know that.
6 feet.
I must have missed that.
Also,
That's
they
crazy.
found a bunch of stone balls, which will make David Hatcher Childress. So they aren't just in Costa Rica; they were Olmec. So what you have here is a precedent of a mother civilization that influenced the Maya, the
All of those,
Aztecs, and what influenced the Olmec. Because before that strata where they found these giant heads, they find nothing.
Yeah.
Zero. So it
Okay.
sprang out of just like Egypt. So
and the parallels between the Olmec and
the
Egypt.
there's a couple of
yeah.
headdresses that it's in Luke's video. There's a couple of headdresses that look a lot like Egyptian headdresses.
Oh, that was cool.
They have never found an Olmec helmet, and they have never found an Egyptian headdress. But on the Olmec helmets, those little circular things, they found next to one king, they found next to in one place next to a palace, one cache of magnets.
That's wild.
They're little magnet beads.
Magnet beads.
Looks like little eyes.
So cool.
How many tons? He said several tons.
Several tons
of these magnet beads that they.
Oh wow!
That his hypothesis is that they would use these like in almost a net on these Olmec heads and levitate them with magnetism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or one of the theories.
It's crazy. And ancient Indian, like Indian nose jobs is pretty fucking weird.
Oh,
that was wild.
Indian face flap. That's what he called it. He's like, it translates to Indian face flap. And I was like, what? That guy was hilarious. By the way.
He was like, well, if you didn't like somebody, you chopped off their nose and people would just get new noses. And I'm like,
savage.
One of the coolest things that that caught my mind yesterday was the panspermia confirmation, right? When they compared the space dust and the different elements. I don't remember exactly. I actually took a picture of it and I posted it. Can you bring that up? I think I posted it
in Discord.
It is. It's in Forbidden Frontier. Just back a little bit. It's evidence for biogeneticity of interstellar dust, and it's the cross comparison of this interstellar dust collection that they've done tests on, and the growth of bacteria.
There it is
on the planet Earth. You'll see this in a second. And they're identical, and it's just like, whoa, that's crazy. Okay, that shows pretty much that the bacteria that exists out in interstellar dust is very similar to the stuff that is on this planet, and that's pretty damn cool. You know what?
Can you see it?
I probably could have just shared my screen.
Here you go. There you go.
We did it.
Okay,
we got it.
We got it.
Back out a little. Oh, actually, this is fine. So you can see like there's the I think he said like the solid line is the interstellar dust, and then the dots are the bacteria on this planet. The curve for E. coli, yeah, it says right there. So it's something to do with like the way that E. coli grows, and then also what they were finding. I took up so much information over the past 20 hours, so I don't remember exactly, but this was really
biogeneticity and interstellar dust. That alone should I mean, they thought about that with comets, but we're talking interstellar dust, which means this could be remnants of a destroyed system that had fucking life on it, or
there's just life everywhere,
or there's just
we don't recognize
life as everywhere.
Right.
I agreed. Well, that's what as Randall's next, I think, step into his, I think he's been there, but like for us lay people, his next step in his, because each Randall talk is a piece of a giant thesis, right?
Yeah.
So
Giant.
we're moving into the universe is an ecosystem.
Yeah.
So, and the universe as an ecosystem has many different ecosystems. So it's all like life connected, and the universe is filled with life we haven't recognized yet. And maybe the universe is alive. We don't even know. So like he's starting to go through that, and there's just all the similarities with sacred geometry. I think that is stuff, Adam, is coded in our brain because people who go crazy start seeing geometric patterns. Some of them, not all. They start seeing patterns, or either that makes them go crazy, or it is a part of. And I know you're not supposed to say crazy. I don't give a fuck. Or people who are just and that happens with drug addicts, especially ones who did speed. They would go. They would basically become sociopath and psychotic. If you did too much speed, it can make you temporarily. And I've seen more than one guy start noticing patterns, numbers in absolutely everything. And I think it taps into something in your brain. And I don't think it's necessarily something wrong. I think it's just a symptom of, damaging your brain. Or
Luke brought this up when he was talking about the Maya and the Olmecs and all the connections across the world with like Egypt. And he was saying, what if it's all not connected through a net, but connected over through these like different psychedelics, like
some level, the mushrooms.
Yeah, the mushrooms
right.
can
DMT
tripping
you're
because
detaching from your real life
and there is
experience.
The handbags of being drugs and mushrooms being revered everywhere. But just to bring my point home, because it's hard to explain unless you experienced it. And I've been in too many drug houses and too many people tweaking and writing out patterns and shit. And Terrence Howard reminded me of that. And it's almost like you're reached a new perception due to sleep deprivation,
right?
The drugs itself, but mostly it's sleep deprivation. That's actually what gets you on the speed. And there's a lot of people, there's tribes who deprive themselves of sleep so they would reach another state of consciousness.
Not that we're saying to do this.
Don't do that.
We don't recommend
as somebody who's been up for like 2 weeks straight.
2 weeks?
Sleep,
Not good.
Yeah, it's not good for you. It makes you fucking crazy.
Oh my God.
But I hallucinated more on lack of sleep than any mescaline or acid.
Our brains are not meant to be in that realm, right?
Bad acid.
It's
not
supposed
especially
to be
not
there.
long term.
Right. So it doesn't mess you up.
Or shrooms.
Change
But
your brain.
we got to wrap it up because we got to go see Ben.
We got Ben.
But we apologize.
Oh, man. I was gonna say there's so much more to even talk about.
There's always next week.
No. I honestly, let's just cut it because if I start talking about this next thing, it's gonna be a lot longer.
Take a little note. Take a little note, and we'll continue the conversation. And if we
there's so much to talk about. Well, and Ben's talking right now. I've got him on my other monitor.
So we gotta go.
We apologize, travelers, for the short video because we would love to stay here and talk for hours and hours and hours.
True.
But there's panels for the next even 3 hours.
Robert Schock
knowledge.
And then there's like an all-day Randall class tomorrow.
Yeah,
all the Randall you can handle. Ooh, that's happening tomorrow. I'm excited.
Also, can I just say Randall does dance a little bit.
Oh wow,
he dances.
Well, that's how I started talking to him. No, I went to bed.
You know who parties? George Howard.
Yes!
He's a partier.
That dude looks like he's the coolest dude there. Sorry, you guys are great.
Really fun.
You guys are great,
cool.
but I'd rather hang out with George Howard.
We'll get him tomorrow for an interview.
Adam, thanks for coming on short notice. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited to
Nerdrotics.
fully talk about this. So.
Yeah, if we can fit in another recorded episode, I'll try. I'll stay in contact with you, and so will Garrett. But thanks to the Nerdrotics, thanks to everybody in the chat, all the travelers who support the channel, all the lurkers. We get tons of compliments on this show. So we'll see you again soon. And look for on Nerdrotic Live, which is almost at 100,000 subs.
Yes, please.
Look for interviews, including Hugh Newman, Dr. Malcolm Lecomte, who is
you interviewed him?
I did.
Astrophysicist.
A cosmic astrophysicist, really smart guy talking
he's
to
wonderful.
a retard.
And then also any super chats, messages, and memberships will be read next week. When we're live.
Yep.
I'll be in the chat though. We'll see.
We'll have a catch up.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.
Nerdrotic.com.
Welcome, travelers, to the fringes of reality, where the strange and mysterious meet, and the thin veil between fact and fiction is torn. Welcome to the Forbidden Frontier.